As the festive season is approaching, it's time to share with you my favorite winter fragrances. So join me as I try to find the absolute best winter fragrance to feel cozy and to smell incredible all season long. I have a long list of fragrances, so I decided to group them according to notes or for the occasions that I would recommend these fragrances. Let's start with the most used fragrances. So everyday scents that I would recommend for winter and also for the office. So these are a little bit soft fragrances. They are not offensive, they are not loud, and tend to be easygoing fragrances. Of course, when it comes to these kind of scents for winter, I tend to gravitate toward two particular notes. The first one is sandalwood, especially soft sandalwood fragrances that are maybe mixed with a little bit of vanilla. I have to admit, sandalwood, like strict sandalwood fragrances, are not exactly my favorite note in fragrances, but I do have some exceptions. The first one is Atelier Cologne Santal Cardamom. The sandalwood here is very soft and elegant, mixed with some vanilla, and the saffron gives it this elegant touch. And it's a perfectly unisex fragrance to wear to office, and surprisingly this fragrance I got complimented on more than once. It's just a very easy-going sandalwood fragrance. Now, I know that Atelier Cologne is not regularly available everywhere, so I decided to include another fragrance that has the same effect. So it's this very soft, elegant, woody fragrance, and it is Coeur Noir. Now, I know it's a leather fragrance, but to me the leather is not very predominant. Mostly, this is a very soft vanilla woody fragrance. So there is also sandalwood, which you can smell here. It has a leathery touch, but it's more in the background. It's not aromatic, not off-putting, and it is one of the most inoffensive soft woody fragrances in my collection. Another option would be soft vanillas, which you can wear also during autumn. Actually, I wear them mostly during autumn, to be honest, but if I am looking for an office-friendly fragrance, I always go to soft vanillas. My first pick would be Orchidée Vanille from Van Cleef & Arpels. This is more of a chocolatey vanilla, but it is very soft, very airy, very elegant. It's not offensive because it's not a very projecting fragrance, and the vanilla is quite demure. It's not very loud and not too sweet. The next one I have talked a lot about, Spiritus Double Vanille from Guerlain. This is, again, an extremely elegant fragrance. It's so beautiful. The difference is that this is a little bit more complex. It has a little bit of the soft, smoky touch, a little bit of pink pepper, and the final result is absolutely a masterpiece. It's not too sweet, it's not too loud. So again, a fragrance that you can wear anywhere, anytime. Very versatile fragrance, I would say. Another elegant soft vanilla is, of course, Christian Louboutin Louis Rouge. Oh, this one I always wear when I go for a job interview. It's just the most elegant, put together, serious fragrance. Not mature, but serious. It's a vanilla, so it has a little bit of this, fun aspect, but the way it is blended with cardamom and iris gives it this extreme elegance and seriousness. Like, I don't know. It's just a masterpiece also, in my opinion. I absolutely love this fragrance and I use it a lot. Of course, I'm not going to talk only about soft vanillas. I have also some sweet vanillas. And sweet vanillas, I personally usually wear when I want to feel cozy, when I go to bed. Some of the fragrances I'm going to mention I'm recently using for bed because, I don't know, there's something about this soft, pillowy, fluffy vanilla. Just it's like a hug when I go to sleep. I don't know. And the one that is the perfect example for that is Allende from Zerchef. I know it's too expensive to wear for bed, but who cares? The important thing is that I enjoy it. Now, I'm not saying that this fragrance you can't wear anywhere, anytime. You can definitely do that. It's like a hug. It's fluffy. It's pillowy. It's soft. So beautiful, but it is very sweet. This is a bakery sweet vanilla with a little bit of a chocolatey feeling. I don't know if there is chocolate in the nose. But there is something chocolatey like cacao powder in this fragrance. Very simple vanilla, perfect for layering, and I am obsessed with the scent. Of course, when we talk about sweet vanillas, this is the one that comes to mind actually, Kayali Vanilla 28. This is one of the fragrances from the brand that really deserves a hype. Now, it's not overly complex, but there's just something very girly, flirtatious about it without being over the top like the rest of the fragrances from the brand. It's just an amazing vanilla fragrance that feels cozy, but at the same time has this fun aspect. So this one I usually wear when I go out with friends or to layer with other soft fragrances. It's not strong, so it's not a fragrance that I can layer with strong fragrances, but with soft fragrances like floral, soft florals, it definitely works and definitely deserves the hype. It's one also of the fragrances that get stronger with time, but it's never a beast fragrance. And this is what I like about it, to be honest. Another fragrance that I love to wear for bed is, again, an expensive fragrance, but what can I do? This is Maison Martin Escapade Gourmand. I don't know what is exactly in this fragrance that makes it so addictive and what makes it special. It smells like a very simple vanilla fragrance, but there is something about it that is extremely addictive and warm and cozy. As I said, I love to wear this one for bed. It gives me this warm feeling. It's a very inviting fragrance, not worth the price tag, I have to say, but as a scent, I love it. And it seems to be a polarizing scent. So some people absolutely love it and other people find it very underwhelming. Tell me in the comments down below, are you team Escapade Gourmand or not? Next one is a Gourmand Vanilla fragrance and it is from the private collection from Dior. This is Vanilla Diorama. This is my favorite one from the line. I have a buying guide actually on the whole line. You'll find it in the description. I tested all the fragrances from Dior's private collection. And still, this is my favorite one. I love it, love it, love it. It has quite a dent, as you can see, especially considering that this is a fragrance that I wear only for winter. It is a gourmand, but you will not smell edible. It still smells like a perfume. It has a beautiful vanilla. It has a bit of spice, a boozy touch, a little bit of citrus. A stunning, stunning fragrance and highly, highly recommended for anyone who is looking for a sweet, elegant, gourmand vanilla fragrance. I love it. Now for all my floral girlies, floral fragrances are always associated with spring, maybe summer, but I have some picks for winter that you will definitely love. I have actually a whole video dedicated to winter florals. Again, check the description. So when it comes to florals during winter, I tend to gravitate toward creamy, bubblegummy white florals or florals that have a gourmand touch. And an example of that is Lilac Love from Amouage. Now they changed the packaging of this fragrance and I believe the scent remains the same. I love lilac and this has this gourmand touch, but it's not an edible fragrance again. It just gives cozy, powdery sweetness to otherwise quite a strong, maybe grandma scent. You have this powdery lilac and heliotrope mixed with cacao. It's not like you can smell cacao. It just gives like a hint of a gourmand touch to the fragrance. It has also a lot of vanilla. I wouldn't categorize it as a gourmand scent. I wouldn't go that far, or a bubblegummy or sweet floral fragrance. It's just the right balance between powderiness and floral touch and also some sweetness. A beautiful, beautiful scent. I love the whole line from Amouage. The Secret Garden collection. I love almost all of the fragrances. They are quite easygoing when it comes to Amouage because, as you all know, Amouage can be quite challenging, but this line in particular is very easygoing and it has the right balance between mass pleasing and also niche quality and a little bit challenging, like a hint just enough. So it's a beautiful introduction also to niche and to the brand. As I said, creamy florals in general, or bubblegummy white florals, is one of the categories that I absolutely love. I can't wear these fragrances during summer because they are too sweet, too dense. But for winter, perfection. Now I have a lot and I couldn't decide. So let's start with tuberose. And to achieve this bubblegummy, creamy white floral, usually they use ylang ylang. So the first example of that is a tuberose fragrance. This is Supreme Bouquet from the private collection from Yves Saint Laurent. And here you have tuberose with ylang ylang, a beautiful ambery vanilla base. It's one of my favorite fragrances, and if I'm not mistaken, the only tuberose fragrance in my collection. That says a lot. Longevity and sillage is 10 out of 10. If you love sweet bubblegummy tuberose fragrances, this is one of the best. I would also recommend the one from BDK, Tuberose Imperial. That one is very sweet, much sweeter than Yves Saint Laurent. So if you want like sweet to the max, go for Tuberose Imperial. And next one is Jasmine, creamy jasmine. And it's quite similar actually to Tuberose Imperial. This is Vert Malachite from Armani. These two fragrances have the same scent profile. They are very dense, very creamy. In this case, we have jasmine. In Tuberose Imperial, we have the tuberose. I have a comparison video. Check the description if you're interested. So here you have this beautiful jasmine, you have the ylang ylang, you have also a lily note and an overdose of vanilla and benzoin. This is my first Armani Privé fragrance and my introduction into this category, and I just became obsessed with these creamy bubblegummy white florals. And honestly, I don't wear this one a lot because it is extremely loud, like really loud and really sweet. So I really have to be in the mood. A very interesting take on this category would be La Prima from Milano Fragranze. What makes this one special is that it's creamy. So there is no ylang ylang, if I'm not mistaken here. Instead, they have osmanthus and an interesting Davana note. And Davana was never a note that I like. I usually avoid fragrances that have this note. And I would have never guessed that Davana can work so beautifully in a floral fragrance. So unique and so beautiful fragrance. I recently did a buying guide on this brand. I just love almost all the fragrances from them. And this is my favorite one. And I would highly recommend it because the quality is there. Longevity and sillage is there. The scent profile, 10 out of 10. And the price is right. Like, you cannot go wrong. Like, even the presentation, I think you will find a very cheap packaging. But look at that. Like, you have a magnetic cap and so elegant. So, highly recommend the whole brand and especially La Prima. Another floral fragrance that I can only wear during winter is Jasmin Musc from Narciso Rodriguez. This is from the private collection from Narciso, and I definitely have to try more of this line. This is a fragrance that you have to test and wait for the try down because it can be quite indolic in the opening. Not too much, but a little bit indolic in the opening. In the dry down, especially in cold weather, oh my God. Like the musk, the amber, the jasmine become extremely captivating. I was about actually to declutter this fragrance, but I decided to give it another chance. And when I wore it, I was like, why would I ever declutter this fragrance? It is absolutely a stunning jasmine fragrance. Love it, and highly recommend it. But it's not a safe blind buy. Again, please test this one and wait for the dry down. It's in the dry down that the magic happens. And also test it during winter because I can see that this one during summer or even like spring could be a little bit too much. Now, can we talk about winter without mentioning the note that comes to mind when we speak about winter fragrances? Amber. And of course, amber can be quite different because it is an accord, so it is a mix of different notes. For more of a soft ambery fragrance, I went with Coco Eau de Parfum. This is just my baby, my love, my fragrance. It's a beautiful ambery, soft oriental fragrance with a lot of spices, a floral touch, extremely complex, extremely elegant. A little bit on the mature side, but I personally wore this one when I was a teenager, so go figure. The next one is a little bit more of a strong amber. Actually, you have to be careful with it and just don't go crazy with the trigger. This is Ambre Eccentrico from Armani Privé. Now, I heard that this one is discontinued. So if you know anything, if this fragrance is discontinued or not, let me know in the comments down below. It's a spicy, musky, ambery fragrance that has the same concoction. Not similar fragrance, but it gives you the same feeling as Musc Ravaggio from Frederic Malle. Why am I having difficulties pronouncing the fragrance and the brand? Anyway, you know what I mean. This has the same feeling. So it's not a safe blind buy. It's not a fragrance for everyone, but it is a stunning amber fragrance that I would always recommend, and objectively the best from Armani Privé. As you all know, Armani Privé is one of my favorite lines in general. I have a lot of fragrances. It was for the longest time my absolute favorite. Now it's not anymore, but objectively it is the best. A little bit almost, I would say, animalic ambery fragrance, but it just has something. I don't know, I can't put words on how these fragrances like Musc Ravaggio and this one smell, and also the next one, Blessed Baraka from Initio. The most sexy fragrance, like very, 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 very sexy. It has also this effect that Ambre Eccentrico has and Musc Ravaggio. It just plays on your instincts. It's strong, almost animalic, but not like it smells like an animal. I don't know, I can't explain. Stay tuned for a comparison video between this one and Carlisle from Parfum de Marly. Both are very sexy unisex fragrances. But for me personally, I prefer Blessed Baraka. It's slightly more on the unisex side if we compare it to Carlisle. You all know I am always honest with you. So, although as you can see, I love the scent, I just can't wear it. I wore it twice since I got it because it is so, like, I love it from the cap. Like, I can't tell you how many times I smell it from the cap, but I don't have the courage to wear it. It's one of these fragrances, if you are not careful, it will wear you. So you have to be a boss lady to wear this fragrance. So definitely don't blind buy it. Test it and test it on your skin and see if you would like this fragrance. And I would definitely recommend it as a gift for your significant other, because if I smell this one on a man, oh my God, it's just perfection. It's just something else. Moving on, a very easygoing amber fragrance for winter is definitely Bouquet Ideale from the Casa Murati line from Xerjoff. A stunning fragrance. If you can't afford this fragrance, I would highly recommend Kalimat from Arabian Oud. I don't know how it's called in English. El Arabiya Al-Oud. I will leave the name here. It is an extremely similar fragrance to this one. I already did a comparison video between them and also between two other fragrances that have the same scent profile, Babylon and also Golden Powder from the House of Oud. So definitely stay tuned for the comparison video between these fragrances. Returning to this one, it's vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon and nutmeg, and if I'm not mistaken, there's also quite a predominant tonka note. Just a stunning fragrance that I wish to wear more of. I don't know why I am not wearing this fragrance as much as I wish for. The best from the Casa Murati line from Xerjoff, hands down. Now, since we have talked about cinnamon in this one, let's talk about cinnamon fragrances. And definitely cinnamon is one of my absolute favorite notes. I have quite a lot of cinnamon fragrances, but the perfect cinnamon fragrance in my collection was from Parfum de Marly. Honey and cinnamon and amber and a warm, spicy, ambery fragrance that has a slight touch of gourmand, but it's again not an edible fragrance. It's so beautiful, guys. If you love cinnamon, get yourself Ouaja, because it is the most heavy on the cinnamon from all the fragrances that I have tested, and I've tested a lot. A unisex fragrance, even leaning feminine, so don't worry about the bottle. Again, amazing longevity and sillage. It has a little bit of this apple pine feeling to it, and the perfect cinnamon fragrance. Now, moving to another note that I love is cardamom, and we can also speak in this case about Louis Rouge, but it has more vanilla than cardamom. The next one is also vanilla and cardamom, but a little bit more heavy on the cardamom. This is Magenta Tanzanite. It has also a little bit of cinnamon. It has, if I'm not mistaken, a coffee note, which I actually don't get a lot. This is, I would say, the most long-lasting, more projecting version of Changing Constance from Penhaligon's. It's not as elegant, I have to admit. Like, the airiness, the elegance of Changing Constance is just unmatched, and it's not as sweet as that one. But nevertheless, it's a spectacular fragrance. Amazing performance, and it is currently my favorite Armani Privé fragrance. If you love cardamom, you love a little bit of a spicy vanilla, then definitely go for Magenta Tanzanite. Speaking about unisex fragrance, the next note is definitely more on the unisex side, and it is tobacco. Now, I was never like the biggest fan of this note. I don't hate it, but like, I enjoy tobacco fragrances from afar, from sniffing it from the bottle, but I personally don't wear them. And this is why the two fragrances that I'm going to mention, I have only a travel size of, because it's more than enough for me. Let's first talk about the classic, Tobacco Vanille. A sticky, gooey tobacco, heavy vanilla fragrance. It has this beautiful dried fruits note in it, which makes it sticky, gooey, and it's so beautiful. Definitely 100% unisex, and it was the fragrance, like the benchmark for all the other fragrances to follow that have similar DNA, so tobacco with sweet notes. By the way, I was thinking about creating a sweet tobacco video. Would you be interested in such a video? Please tell me in the comments down below. Next one smells exactly like apple shisha. This is Smoking Hot from Kilian. Yeah, it does have a slightly perfumey touch, but to me it's very representative of an apple shisha. As you can see from my description, it has a predominant apple note. It has also some cinnamon, vanilla, and it's such a beautiful, again, unisex fragrance. I mean, this kind of DNA is made for Kilian, and they did a great job with this one. It was one of my favorite releases from last year. Now imagine this. You are sitting by the fireplace. It's cold outside, maybe even snowing. And you have this beautiful sweater, and you feel the warmth and also the smell of the smoke of the crackling wood in the fireplace. And you have in front of you this plate with dates and dried fruits, and you are eating, and it's sweet. This is the fragrance. This is Rouge Sarai from Atelier des Ors. I speak a lot about this fragrance for a reason, because it is the best from the brand, in my opinion. I love this one, how cozy it feels, the perfect balance between the sweetness from the dried fruits, especially dates. Here it is very heavy on the dates, so it's a little bit sticky, but everything is balanced with this beautiful guaiac wood, so it's a little bit smoky, a little bit woody, and it's absolutely stunning. If I have to rebuild my fragrance collection, I would go and buy another bottle of Rouge Sarai for sure. So beautiful. It has this gourmandy touch, the smoky touch. It is for me a more elevated version of By the Fireplace from Maison Margiela. And not a surprise, they are created by the same perfumer, but they are not similar fragrances. They just evoke the same vibe, the same feeling. I am not like the biggest fan of By the Fireplace, but I am of Rouge Sarai. And another note that would fit perfectly in winter fragrances, in my opinion, is incense. But it's not a note that I love. I can appreciate fragrances that have an incense note in them, but I just find them a little bit too challenging and sometimes a little bit too masculine for me. The two fragrances that come to my mind that have a predominant incense note that I would recommend are Basilica from Milano Fragranze and also Tiger Nest from Memo. Tiger Nest is much more challenging, while Basilica is a little bit more soft, so more tolerable, so a good introduction into this note. So tell me in the comments down below if you have a favorite incense fragrance. I'm really curious to see your picks for this note. Last and certainly not least, I would say the note for me that can only be worn during winter. Like, there's no chance for me to wear this note in any other season. And I'm speaking about oud. Now, I know in the Middle East and maybe other countries, people would wear this one all year round. I just can't. This is for me a strict winter fragrance. My favorite, and of course, when we speak about oud, it's a perfect combination, rose and oud. And my favorite fragrance is Rose Umayyad. A sweet, jammy rose with some oud. Like, here the emphasis is more on the rose than on the oud, and it is also sweet, so it makes the oud more tolerable. It's a beautiful scent, and as you can see, it's almost full because I just can't find occasions to wear this fragrance. So I envy you if you can. A beautiful introduction also into oud fragrances. Highly recommended. Some of you told me that you got this fragrance because of me and you absolutely love it. So I'm not saying that you should blind buy this fragrance. You definitely should never blind buy a fragrance, in my opinion. But if you are looking for a easygoing, like an introduction into oud fragrance, this is the best in my opinion. And another beautiful oud fragrance, you all know what I'm going to say. The Bewitching Jasmine from Penhaligon's. I don't know where I put this fragrance because I can't find it. So I will leave a picture of it here. As you all know, I love this fragrance and it's my favorite from Penhaligon's, hands down. It has this oud note that is not, again, too much or overwhelming. Maybe in the beginning, like with all oud fragrances, be careful in the beginning when you first spray it because it can be a little bit, too much. But the dry down, it's beautiful and it's very unique because it has oud and jasmine. So it's not your like typical combination. It's truly, as the name, a very bewitching fragrance. And it is perfect for cold weather because it's quite a strong one. So again, don't go heavy with the trigger on this fragrance, and also be careful not to wear it in closed environments. Maybe just spray a little bit because it can be quite overwhelming. Highly recommend also that one for someone who wants an introduction into oud, but not like your typical rose and oud. And for all of these notes, I can go on and on with a lot of fragrances that I would recommend that are maybe not for me personally. So this is why I decided to speak only about fragrances that I currently have in my fragrance collection. So tell me in the comments down below, what is your favorite winter fragrance, your favorite winter note? Like, what is the note that for you represents winter? Looking forward to see your comments down below. I hope you liked this video and you found it helpful. And if you did, please give it a thumb up and consider subscribing to my channel if you didn't already. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you will get notified when I upload any new video. I have a lot of exciting videos coming very soon. Especially stay tuned for my Christmas edition where I go through everything like the best releases of 2024, my most used products, most used fragrances. It's a recap of the whole year, so definitely stay tuned for that. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time. Ciao!